Dragon Ball fans get divided over many things, but one of the things they seem to agree on is that Dragon Ball GT wasn't the best. Now, there is a small group out there that think that Dragon Ball GT was actually really awesome. I'm one of them. But for where most Dragon Ball fans believe that GT is under par in storytelling, they all agree that one of the best things to happen from it was Super Saiyan 4. And that is a really cool transformation. It's pretty much my favorite form of all of them. But I was rewatching GT and I noticed something. On several occasions in GT, Goku requires a strength upgrade to defeat an opponent, which requires the other Saiyans to give him power, and I couldn't help but notice how close to the Super Saiyan God ritual this was. In most cases, they were only missing a single Saiyan from the energy donation for this to have become a divine transformation. So it made me wonder, what would have happened if Goku had attained his Super Saiyan God transformation in GT? Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. The red skies overhead were of unusual color. Somewhere between dusk and nighttime is what it reminded one of. Among the rocky outcroppings lay a mysterious and futuristic city that echoed of things long gone and their attempt to return to current. Gazing into the sky, Goku saw a floating satellite, a moon-like structure, but as he gazed upon it deeper, he could easily distinguish that it was the Earth. They were no longer on Earth. Below Goku's feet lay the new planet Tuffle, a planet created by the maniacal machine mutant known as Baby. The last of his kind, the last Tuffle, the will and spirit of the final King Tuffle inside of him. There was a part of Goku that felt bad for him. Having witnessed his people perish, all he seemed to desire was to recreate it. But as Goku continued looking at what the Tuffle King was doing, he realized that he had lost his mind. His sanity was frayed. He had just massacred his own people with the power of Vegeta just to see what it felt like to be a Saiyan. And now their action-packed battle had seemingly reached its conclusion. Both had fought so hard that their bodies collapsed out from under them. It seemed as if the only thing either of them could do was sleep now. The victor would be decided not by who went down last, but by who would wake up first. And as it had been, Baby had awakened first due to the action of Bulma, who, under the Tuffle's control, hit him with enough blitz waves to get his juices pumping again. But as Goku rose up as well in hopes of facing Baby, he couldn't help but realize that his strength had all but failed him. Putting on a brave face, bluffing his way out, he sat upon a ledge as if he were the king of the world, attempting to hide the fact that his legs were no longer strong enough to hold him up. Goku found himself in a pickle. Even with this, the might of Super Saiyan 4 was not enough to conquer the pilfered power of the Tuffle King. But what could he do? Well, even as they spoke, Kibito Kai was moving around planet Tuffle, giving out some of the ultra-divine water that he had taken from the lookout, dripping it into the mouths of each of the Saiyans that Goku called family. Even now, the toxins in their body that Baby had left behind to control them were evaporating from their systems, returning them to their right mind. Goten and Trunks awakened. Gohan too, and when he did, his daughter Pan rushed over to give her father a big hug. "Papa, I was so worried for you." The moment was enough to touch the heart of Kibito Kai, but now his job was nearly done. He informed them that Goku needed help, and with that he used his Kai to transport himself back to the realm of the Kai, where he would continue watching the battle take place on Elder Kai's crystal ball. As Baby and Goku continued their battle, Oob interfered. Though Oob was not as strong as Baby, he had a way of holding him back. And as Oob kept Baby busy, Goku was forced to pull back to be with his family and friends. They stood there and looked at him. "Dad, let us help out," Goten demanded. Goku shook his head. "No, I'm afraid this guy is well over your own capabilities." "There must be something we can do," Trunks said. Goku thought about it for a moment. "Maybe there is." And so they formed a circle around him. With this, Goku was hoping to be restored to full power. Seeing what was going down, Pan rushed from the side of her grandfather, Mr. Satan, and joined into the circle to begin giving her power to her grandfather. As they began to give him a portion of their ki, they could all tell that something was going on here. None of them had noticed yet, save Gohan, that there was another Saiyan in this circle. Gohan looked at him. Who was he? He appeared to have a tail. He wore body armor, and his face and hair were almost like a mirror of Vegeta's. Yet in his eyes there lay kindness and love, not too unlike Goku. The Saiyan looked at Gohan and offered a slight smile. Gohan had no idea who this man could be. As it turns out, Gohan wasn't the only one who noticed. Goku too had noticed, but hadn't said anything. Inside of his head, Goku could hear the man's voice. I am Yamashi, the first Super Saiyan, and the legendary Super Saiyan God. For eons, my spirit has wandered the universe, seeking a worthy Saiyan to inherit my powers. Son Goku, I have chosen you. Take up this power and use it to defend the universe from evil. And as all of this energy passed through Goku, he felt something change. A spark ignited into a flame, and that flame seemed to consume him. But all the same, it didn't destroy him. The flame, while warm, was also cool to the touch. It was controlled. Suddenly, that flame overtook Goku. As Goku returned to his base form, his hair suddenly shifted to a magenta shade of red. His body was leaner, but only barely so. All of the Saiyans in the circle looked at him with shock. Dad, what is this transformation? Goten asked. Gohan then looked around to see if he could find the strange man who had been in the circle. He couldn't. It was as if the man had never been there to begin with. Goku then spoke. I think that this is Super Saiyan God. Super Saiyan what? Trunks asked. Goku shook his head. In the realm of the Kai, the Elder Kai was falling out of his seat. Kibito Kai looked at him. What's wrong, honorable ancestor? Elder Kai pointed at the crystal ball. That form, that energy, can you not sense it? Kibito Kai tried again and his eyes widened in terror. Is that divine energy Goku-san has? Elder Kai nodded. It seems that his has somehow ventured into the domain of the gods. Kibito Kai grew worried. If he was immortal and had such potential as he did, what can he do now that he has divine energy? It's the end of the universe, the elderly Kai stated as he continued to watch. The golden great ape baby looked upon the new transformation and spoke. That form, it's new. What is that? Goku looked down. Honestly, I'm not too sure. It was a total surprise to me, but rest assured I'm gonna use it to stop you, baby. The golden great ape sneered. Saiyan scum! Baby rushed toward Goku to strike him. Goku moved forward as well. As their fists collided, there was a sudden energy wave that shook both planet Tuffle as well as Earth. The force of this strike had released a universe-wide gravity wave that was radiating through even other dimensions. Kibito Kai and Elder Kai were feeling the effects of this. A wave of power that gets stronger the further out it goes. This sort of attack is going to be the death of the universe if Goku doesn't get a handle on things. Goku realized the destructive power of his attack. Oh, I can't keep doing that. I don't want to break anything I don't mean to. Goku smiled again, this time with determination. He then went to continue attacking Baby. As he did so, he would adjust his attacks in just the right way to minimize the damage he dealt to the cosmos. This causes both Kais to enter a state of shock. They had known that Goku grew fast, but the rate at which he had figured out that the transformation would destroy the universe, and the rate at which he learned to control his power was astounding. And now he was basically causing no disturbances across space-time. As his fists collided with Baby's, he could feel the level of control the form required. The pressure within him was intense. As he experienced this new form, as he was fighting with it, his mind was memorizing everything. Every sensation, every feeling. He was assimilating the transformation into his body. And now, as he and Baby had rested from their probing attacks, Baby felt like it was time to destroy Goku for good. But how? Baby smiled as he charged an earth-splitting Gallic gun. He angled it toward the Earth. Goku saw this and used his instant transmission to get in the way. He released a Kamehameha that was so powerful that it pushed back Baby's Gallic gun and seemingly knocked him out. As the golden great ape laid there unconscious, Goku took a page from Krillin's technique book and utilized a Destructo disc to lop off the tail of Baby. As he did, Baby couldn't help but revert back to his base form. But the issue was that now that Baby had taken in all of that ki, he had grown so much that Vegeta's base form body could no longer hold him. And so Baby was ejected from Vegeta's body. Baby, realizing he was vulnerable now and no longer a threat to Goku in this form, rushed to the nearest spaceship and boarded it. He began to take off. Goku, watching this happen, lamented in his heart that Baby would continue to do evil. And so, with a heavy burden, Goku charged his Kamehameha. As he launched it at the ship, it would begin to be pushed into the sun, passing by the body of Broly and the ashen remains of Cooler. This Kamehameha would drive to extinction a race of people, and what the Saiyans had started with conquest all of those years ago, Goku was now finishing. He almost wanted to cry, but he remembered that what Baby had become was not what he had once been. He had become the very thing he hated, and if the Tuffles were watching this moment, they likely would have agreed that this was for the best. As the deed was finished, Goku felt his transformation drop. Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Pan all rushed him. "You did it, Dad," Gohan said. "That was the coolest, Grandpa," shouted Pan. Goku couldn't help but blush. It was then that they turned their attention toward the crater where Vegeta lay. Trunks pushed past them and rushed into the crater to lift up his father to check for any vital signs. As he held them there, he listened and felt for a heartbeat. Placing his head to the chest of his father, he listened. Tears began to stream from his face as a smile formed. Dad's okay. But this was not the end of things. Baby had used the Black Star Dragon Balls to make the wish that had brought the new planet Plant into existence. And so it became increasingly obvious that the Earth would explode, as that was the end of using the Black Star Dragon Balls. Knowing that they didn't have time to gather them all once again, they decided that it was best to evacuate all remaining humans on Earth. Using their ki sense on a planet-wide scale, as well as Goku's instant transmission technique, they would teleport everyone to the new planet Plant, where they would all wait and watch. Little did they know that Piccolo decided to stay behind on the destructing Earth. Piccolo, having fused with his other half during the Android saga, knew that the Black Star Dragon Balls had been awakened since that time. Piccolo had considered using the Earth Dragon Balls, or perhaps the Namekian Dragon Balls, to call the Black Star Dragon Balls back. But in the end, he realized that Ultimate Shenron was more powerful than regular Shenron, as well as Porunga. He couldn't wish them back, and he couldn't wish them inert. The only thing that would do this and ensure that the Black Star Dragon Balls could never be used to threaten again was to admit his time was past. There was a new Guardian of the Earth, and Gohan. Oh, sweet, innocent little Gohan had grown up into a responsible man with a child of his own. It was time to admit that the world no longer needed Piccolo, and that Piccolo's presence was only going to cause them pain. And so he accepted his fate, and told Gohan goodbye, telling him to give his regards to the others. As the planet exploded, Piccolo died, and the Black Star Dragon Balls would no longer threaten the universe. Using the Namekian Dragon Balls, Goku would wish the Earth back, and eventually he would return the humans to the surface. As he did so, Goku continued his training. He had learned to achieve that divine transformation at will by remembering the sensation he had when he achieved it the first time. He was even growing to use its power on his own without actually transforming into it by mimicking the principles of the transformation in his base form. This was something that he was clued into by Kibito Kai, against the wishes of the Elder Kai. So with some pointers, Goku managed to pretty much master this transformation, but he felt like there was something beyond it. But what? The days passed on and became weeks. The weeks passed on into months, and though Gohan was still mourning Piccolo, he knew that he wasn't alone, and that Goku also had a close relationship with the old Namekian. And so, to celebrate the life of Piccolo, they decided to throw a party in his honor. And now that things had calmed down since the restoration of order on Earth after Baby's invasion, they could finally begin to heal. But no sooner than they began to heal did the evil Dr. Gero and Dr. Mew begin conspiring together in Hell. Many people wondered how it was that these two could continue their work. But the secret was that just as there were magic spells to summon new sets of clothes, there were spells that could summon new robotic parts. And with that, they crafted a new Android 17. Gero and Mew had theorized that if the two identical androids were to synchronize their power, they might be able to open a portal between the worlds. It was then that a massive portal opened in the skies above West City. The citizens looked up in fear, wondering what new entity might cause them peril, but to their surprise, it was not any one entity but hundreds of familiar ones. Raditz, Nappa, Cooler, there were so many that it truly did seem like the end of the world. But worse than that, Dr. Mew and Gero escaped through the portal with their new creation. Drawing in the original Android 17, they waited to fuse them together. You see, they had lured Goku through the portal to Hell, and once through, they closed it from behind. Goku was trapped. There he met with Frieza and Cell, who had waited long and trained even longer to achieve greater strength. Having heard of this new divine transformation, Frieza and Cell both wanted that kind of power. Training to their greatest points, Frieza managed to achieve a new transformation he called his golden form. And Cell? He achieved a transformation that seemed to add some red to his color scheme, that he called Super Perfect Cell Max. Goku had realized that these two were not a force to be trifled with, so he went straight into his newest transformation. Having taken the principles of divine energy and applied it to his standard Super Saiyan state, he achieved a new transformation he called Super Saiyan Blue. Goku concentrated and powered up, his hair beginning to glow blue from the inside out. He transformed and was eaten up by a light blue flame that he had then pulled inside of himself to further perfect the form. He stood there, ready to fight. At this point, it was a question of who would come out on top. "This is all for you, Goku," Cell said with a chuckle. "We had no idea what could lie beyond ourselves if we trained properly." But because we've seen these new forms of yours, we can't help but push ourselves beyond our natural limits. Frieza then spoke. On Namek, all those years ago, you humiliated me. And then again on Earth, not even you, but that nameless Saiyan from who knows where. But now I'm ready to return the favor. I'm ready to reclaim what is mine. Goku smiled. I haven't been this excited in a long time, guys. Come on, show me what you got. And as it went, it felt as though Goku might be losing. That was until something happened. Suddenly, Piccolo appeared. Goku was confused. Piccolo? What are you doing in hell? Piccolo looked to Goku. I thought I could be better use here. As Goku looked at Piccolo though, something seemed different. What's going on, Piccolo? You look different. Piccolo looked down at his yellow-skinned body. Before I came here, I knew I would need something to match the powerhouses that I knew would start popping up. So I asked Grand Elder Guru to awaken my potential before I came here. This is the result of that. Goku smiled. I can sense your strength. Come on, show me your new power. Piccolo tapped into something deeper than his standard potential and achieved a large orange transformation. With this new transformation, things were more evenly matched. Piccolo managed to take Cell to the ground as Goku traded blows with Frieza. Having lost the advantage of numbers, Frieza began to be pushed back. Trying to regroup with Cell, Frieza rushed to the ground, and there, Goku and Piccolo charged their attacks. Goku formed a Kamehameha, while Piccolo formed a Masenko. Together, the two blasts merged, struck Cell and Frieza, and knocked them into the deeper parts of Hell. With their enemies defeated, it was now up to Piccolo and Goku to somehow get Goku back to Earth. Goku had considered using his instant transmission. After all, if he could use it to teleport from Earth to King Kai's planet and back, no doubt he could use this to teleport from Hell to Earth, right? But the thing was, stuff was wonky right now. Space and time were warped massively, and even though this normally would be possible, Goku simply couldn't locate his destination, or even attempt to jump there. And so, Piccolo decided to try something else. Giving Dende a call, the two synchronized their powers. And after many tries, they opened the portal again, allowing Goku to escape Hell back into the living world. By this time, Android 17 and his Hellfighter counterpart had fused and become the menace known as Super 17. Super 17 was facing off against Goten, Trunks, Gohan, Oob, and even Vegeta, and was winning. That was until Goku appeared. Goku told Vegeta that he ought to stay out of the way for now and rest, and let Goku deal with this guy. Goku would take on Super Saiyan Blue, which would astound Vegeta. Vegeta, looking at this transformation for the first time, began to wonder if it were possible for him to also achieve, but by this time he passed out. Goku then fired a Ki Blast at Super 17. It struck the android and knocked him flat. I don't understand. That Ki Blast possessed no power in it, yet obviously had strength. I demand to know what you've done, Son Goku, the tall, lanky warrior said. Goku smiled. Well, in the spirit of fairness, I'll tell ya. I'm utilizing something called divine energy. It can't be sensed like conventional ki. I'd advise you to give up now. If you don't, I'll have to destroy you, and I'd really hate to upset number 18. Super 17 thought about this for a moment before smiling calmly. I think I'll continue the fight. Goku sighed. Okay then. He then formed Ki Blasts in his hands. He began to fire them at Super 17. Instead of dodging or avoiding them, 17 simply opened up his arms and took them. As soon as he did, his sensors went wild. His muscles bulked for a moment before they actually contracted a bit more than they had before. So this is what divine energy is. Goku was confused. Super 17 smiled. Give me more, Son Goku. 17 rushed at Goku and kneed him in the nose, sending Goku flying back. Goku rolled across the ground and began to wonder what was going on. Android 17 was nothing a moment ago, and now he simply was stronger? Something didn't make sense. Super 17 tried to keep the fight close and melee centered. If he could keep pressure on Goku, he knew Goku would try to shift it into a ranged battle, and that's exactly what 17 wanted. He left some openings for Goku. As Goku managed to stand, Goku took the bait and punched Super 17 in the chest, sending him flying miles away. Super 17 then began to pour on the speed. As he did, Goku sensed him coming in at incredible speeds. He charged a Kamehameha and fired it at Super 17, who then stopped and absorbed that too. That was when Goku understood. Wait, I can sense him now. Normally I can't sense androids, but I can sense 17? It feels like divine energy. He's absorbing my Ki Blasts. Super 17 drew closer. He had wanted to absorb more of this energy, but as it stood, he had enough of it now to kill Goku, and that's all that mattered. Goku was struck by Super 17 and sent flying back a long way. As Goku came to bear, he decided to go straight into a melee-only battle. But in a one-on-one fight, Goku was inferior to Super 17. The android was just way too much for him. What can I do? Goku then realized that there was one option he could choose. It's risky, but about the best I can do. As Super 17 drew closer to him, Goku took a deep breath. He knew it could kill him, but unless he tried, he would die anyway. It was better to have a slim chance than no chance at all. So he did it. He powered up further and cried out, "Kaioken!" With his ki skyrocketing higher as he added more multipliers to it, Goku's strength increased. Super 17 was startled. "I can do this," 17 said to himself. "I'm an infinite energy type. I don't run out of stamina. This technique he's using eats through stamina like a mouse through cheese. I just gotta outlast him." And so, Super 17 began to take defensive maneuvers to try and avoid Goku's attacks, and to a point he was successful. But it was then that Android 18 appeared at last. It was here that she mentioned that she wasn't going to let 17 get away. She informed Goku that Krillin had been killed by 17. Goku was shocked by this. "Killed?" Goku's anger shot up. "How dare you kill Krillin?" Goku bumped up his Kaioken to X20 and began to rush at Super 17. Super 17 still tried to avoid, but with Android 18 here, he had nowhere to go, and his movement was hampered. "It's so easy, just kill 18, he shouted in his own head. He raised his hand to blast her to bits. He was so beyond her now that he could essentially one-shot her, but he didn't. His hand fell back down. He couldn't kill his own sister. He knew Goku was coming. He didn't resist. The last thing Super 17 did was smile at his sister with kindness, something that struck her. 17. Suddenly, Goku collided with Super 17, punching straight through him. He was stunned by the attack for a moment. Suddenly, his mechanical parts began to fail him. The divine energy he had stored was going critical. "If I explode here, I'll destroy the Earth," he cried out in realization. He tried flying up into the upper atmosphere but couldn't quite get there. If he kept pulling on his stolen energy, he would go critical faster. He cried down, "Goku, Kamehameha me, right now!" Goku looked up at 17 and then nodded. Kamehameha. Goku fired a Kamehameha that would launch 17 out of the atmosphere and deep into space. Super 17 turned around just for a moment to look at the small blue orb as it faded from view incredibly quickly. 17 would smile, remembering his love of Earth, its nature, and its animals, something he had picked up from number 16. He would die here surrounded by none of the nature he loved. Maybe that's what he deserved. But it was then that, as if he had heard the voice of a friend from his past, Android 16, he looked around. Wait, the stars. The stars are a part of creation too. Oh, how beautiful. And with that, he exploded. Android 18 fell to her knees as she felt her brother go offline. Goku walked to her and put his hand on her shoulder. There, at the end, 17 overcame the evil programming 18. I promise. When we wish Krillin back, we'll wish 17 back as well, but the good 17 that existed before Jiro and Mew twisted him. 18 nodded. Thank you, Goku. From that point on, though, Goku had a hard time controlling his ki. A strange sense of foreboding had entered the air, and Goku knew something wasn't right. He felt like things were coming to a head, as if the very concepts of destruction and negativity were rising to meet him. And at that moment, Goku was having a hard time controlling his ki due to the strain that the Kaioken had put on him. So he decided it was best to help Vegeta also attain this transformation. Goku and the others began trying to replicate the same ritual with Vegeta and managed to give him the same magenta-haired form, before also teaching him how to attain Super Saiyan Blue. And as time passed, Goku also recovered. With no other idea as to what to do, Goku and the others decided to summon Shenron and wish back all those killed since Baby arrived on Earth. But only the good ones, a stipulation that Vegeta added in for Goku's sake, with Android 18 saying to make an exception for 17 if he were still considered evil. And so they summoned Shenron, but as the skies darkened, the same feeling of foreboding entered the air even thicker. Suddenly, he appeared, but something was off. He was a dark blue color as opposed to his normal green. In his mouth, he was smoking a cigarette. Something was wrong, but Goku attempted to remain optimistic. Shenron must be on vacation. This dragon is probably just filling in for him. But even Goku knew that this wasn't how it worked. Can you fulfill our wishes? Black Smoke Shenron laughed. Sure, I can fulfill your wishes, the dragon said sarcastically. After asking that the dragon bring those who died back to life, they found that it wouldn't. Instead, he spoke of plans to destroy the entire universe. The Dragon Balls then rose into the air and scattered without even fulfilling a single wish. And so Goku and Vegeta both decided to go after the threat. To collect the Dragon Balls, Bulma would offer them her Dragon Radar, but despite this, there was still a threat in the air. Something was waiting in the wings. What it was, Goku and Vegeta didn't know. They could feel something so strong that it was almost ridiculous. Following the Dragon Radar to the first city, they began to look around. There had been signs of a battle, but no Shadow Dragon. In fact, the Dragon Ball that should have been there was no longer there. Goku and Vegeta were both confused, so they began to follow the Dragon Radar to the same location and discovered the same thing. This became a trend that they would always seem to uncover time and time again, all the way up to the desert city that had once been the domain of the Shadow Dragon, Nova Shenron. But even here, a battle had seemingly destroyed him. However, all the Dragon Balls were indeed in this city, and better yet, they were gathered together in one place. Goku and Vegeta followed after it and discovered a strange being, a shadow dragon named Sin Shenron. In his hand, he held the 4-star Dragon Ball that once had been Nova's. He swallowed it and transformed into the ghastly Omega Shenron. Shenron would look back at them and laugh. "Are you the ones who have been tearing down the Shadow Dragons for me?" Goku and Vegeta looked to each other. "Wait, that wasn't you?" Vegeta asked. Omega was confused for a moment. He smiled. "No matter, I am finally complete. Now I will destroy you and end this whole greedy world." He began to walk toward him. Goku and Vegeta would turn Super Saiyan Blue and would rush toward Shenron, their punches striking him but being caught by the palms of his hands. Shenron would smile nefariously before smashing Goku and Vegeta together and flinging them in different directions. The two would roll across the ground. They would rise to their feet. Goku would dust himself off, as would Vegeta. The battle would continue, but it became obvious that even in Super Saiyan Blue, Goku and Vegeta couldn't defeat Shenron. It was around this time that Bulma and the others showed up, putting forward their idea. "What if we use the same waves we used on Baby?" Vegeta was confused. "And turn us into a great ape? Would that work?" Goku thought about it. And if we could control it, we could attain a divine version of Super Saiyan 4. I never thought about it that way. Vegeta then looked back at Bulma. "Do it then." She would hit Vegeta with Blutz waves and transform him into a great ape. But for a moment, due to being out of practice, he would rampage. Quickly, he would regain control, and as he did, his fur turned a cool ice color, before his form began to return to a more humanoid one. He took on a Super Saiyan Blue 4 form, mixing divine energy with Super Saiyan 4. Goku would concentrate and attempt to add these same principles of Super Saiyan Blue to his Super Saiyan 4 transformation. He would achieve Super Saiyan 4, and the fur on his arms and torso would turn blue, as the hair upon his head returned to its natural black. Standing there, Shenron could no longer sense them. "What is this trickery?" he demanded to know. Goku smiled. "Why don't you come and find out?" Shenron then rushed at them and began throwing a flurry of punches, but Goku and Vegeta were well beyond Shenron's level by this point. They dodged and struck him back, sending him flying. At this point, it was laughable. Shenron would attempt to destroy the world with a massive negative karma ball. Goku would look to Vegeta and give him a nod of approval. Vegeta would then fly up to it and flick it with his finger, sending it back into Shenron. Shenron hit the ground. "I don't understand. How can I lose the likes of you?" "Interesting," a new voice suddenly said. Goku and Vegeta would look to the new person speaking, as would Omega Shenron. They would see there a large cat-like person with a blue-skinned servant hovering behind him. Elsewhere, Elder Kai would be startled to see it through his crystal ball. "Beerus the Destroyer has awakened. This is impossible. Why is he here?" Beerus saw Omega Shenron, the last one that I missed. He would hover down in front of him. "Normally, I wouldn't care about what villains like you might do, but not only will you destroy the whole universe, but your bad energy will spread across the 12 universes just by you existing. And I can't have that. That's embarrassing." He raised his hand. Omega would look at this hand and then into the eyes of the feline warrior before him. Beerus would crack a small smile. "Hawkeye." Suddenly, a purple energy enveloped Shenron and completely evaporated him. Beerus would pick up the Dragon Balls left behind. "These orbs are Namekian, yes? What are they doing on Earth, Whis?" Whis would look into his staff. "It seems there have been Namekians here on Earth in the past. There's one serving as the guardian of the planet now." "Who the hell are you?" Vegeta demanded. It was then that Elder Kai cried out in their minds, "Don't insult him! That's Beerus the Destroyer!" Vegeta thought back and seemed to recall a memory of him. Suddenly, he grew terrified. "Wait, Beerus the Destroyer?" Beerus stood there. "These Dragon Balls are troublesome, as is this whole planet. Maybe I should destroy it." "Please, don't," Vegeta begged. "Spare this planet." Beerus thought about it. "Whis, why do these two possess divine energy?" Whis looked them over. "It seems that they're the source of that energy that woke you up a month ago. They're Saiyans who have undertaken the ritual to achieve divine energy." Beerus smiled. "I see." He lowered to the ground and walked around Goku and Vegeta. He smiled. "I'll make a deal with you. If you show me a good fight, maybe I'll spare your little planet. Does that sound fair?" Goku smiled. "Sure, let's go for it." Beerus shook his head. "Nuh-uh, not right here. I am not yet ready to destroy this planet, so we must fight in the upper atmosphere." Vegeta gulped. They all began to fly up as close to space as the two Saiyans could handle. Beerus stopped. Now, come at me. Show me why this planet deserves to survive. Goku and Vegeta nodded to each other. They then rushed at him with all of their might. As their punches and kicks came in, Beerus bobbed and weaved between them with such precision and fluidity that it was almost like his body was moving without thinking. Beerus would kick them both back. If that's all you have, then maybe this was a mistake. Goku and Vegeta then pull back and charge a Kamehameha and a final flash. This got Beerus' attention. Now this is interesting. Fine, show me what you can do. He let the two charge up. Once they were at full power, they released the blast at Beerus. Beerus took it head on without even flinching or putting up a fight. Did we get him? Vegeta asked. As the blast faded away, Beerus was still standing there like nothing had even happened. There was a small flame above his ear, but he quickly snuffed it out with his fingers. With the flame gone, so too was his patience. He sighed. It was a mistake to think that you mortals, even with pilfered divine power, could match me. It's time I destroy this world. Vegeta then held out his hands. Wait. Beerus raised an eyebrow. What is it? Vegeta then spoke. We have one more technique. He then looked at Goku. Goku, we need to fuse. Goku was shocked. You? Want to fuse with me? Did you just fall and hit your head? Vegeta shook his head. There's no time for this, Kakarot. Just do as I tell you. Goku smiled. All right. The two got an adequate distance from the other and then got into a proper stance. They then began to draw closer to each other. Fusion. Ha! As their fingers touched, despite it having been years since the last time they had done this, their stances were perfect. The two of them fused together, and there Super Saiyan Blue 4 Gogeta was born. His fur was Saiyan, and his hair was a deep blue. His vest remained on his torso as his tail pushed through the hind quarters of his white pants. Oh, this is interesting, Beerus said. What is this technique? The Saiyan then spoke. Goku and Vegeta have merged into a single being now with the Metamoran fusion technique. And what should I call you then? Vegito? The fusion smiled. We are Gogeta, and one who will defeat you. Beerus smiled and laughed a little. Let's hope you're not all bluster. Beerus decided to be the one to begin the next round by punching at Gogeta. Amazingly, Gogeta raised his arm and caught the fist with a smile. Beerus' eyes widened as he then grew more serious. Don't get cocky. He then began to punch out at Gogeta and kick at him with as much energy as Beerus meant to at that time, and Gogeta, despite admitting that the attack stung, was still standing resolute. He even managed to return a jab straight at Beerus' nose. Beerus stepped back as a little blood began to drip down his face. It's been a long time since anyone has drawn my blood. Anyone besides Whis, that is, and that cursed veterinarian. Beerus licked up the blood and smiled. Gogeta recoiled at the sight of it. Ew, that's disgusting. The two moved back in to fight each other. Beerus would strike Gogeta in the face, leaving him with a black eye, but Gogeta would knee Beerus in the stomach before chopping him in the neck. For a moment, Beerus almost went out, but then he let out an energy ki that pushed Gogeta away from him. Gogeta stood there and laughed. Suddenly, Beerus noticed something. Around Gogeta's neck was Beerus' own destroyer mantle. At his waist was the cloth that normally hung down from Beerus' obi. Gogeta then laughed. I am gonna destroy you, he said in a mocking tone. Beerus was filled with rage. He then formed a sphere of destruction, a massive sun-like attack that Beerus tossed at Gogeta. Gogeta saw it coming. He grabbed the sphere and tried to keep it from crashing into the earth, and as he did, he felt the fur on his arms starting to singe. With a roar, he pushed it back and destroyed it, though his fur was still smoldering. It was then that Beerus came in for an attack, grabbing Vegito around his waist. Vegito grabbed Beerus' tail and began to swing him around by it before throwing him. Beerus would correct himself and enter a more docile state. Gogeta was confused. What's wrong? Don't want to fight anymore? Chicken? Baka? Beerus smiled. I don't wish to fight anymore. The battle's already over. Gogeta then noticed Beerus was holding something, a fuzzy monkey's tail. Gogeta looked back behind him and noticed that Beerus had cut it off. Uh-oh. Suddenly, Gogeta defused back into Goku and Vegeta. Goku was checking for his own tail and found that it was still there. He sighed with relief and then suddenly grew terrified. He looked back at Vegeta and Goku. The two began to cower a little. Beerus reclaimed his clothing items that had been stolen from him and looked at them with a smile. That was one of the most exhilarating battles I've ever experienced, second only to my training matches with Whis. A deal is a deal. I won't destroy your world. Are you sure about that? Whis asked. Beerus looked to him. I am. This was fun. I expect more matches like this in the future. Goku and Vegeta began to calm a bit, with Goku even growing excited. Sure, I'd love to. Beerus smiled. Good. Give my regards to the others. I will return to my world for a quick nap. How long shall I set your alarm clock for? Whis asked. Beerus looked to his attendant. How about 4 years? Whis was shocked. That's soon. That's barely half a wink. Beerus laughed. I know, right? These two inspired me. Maybe I'd like to get some training in and challenge them again. Beerus looked to them. I hope you can do a lot in 4 years. Goku smiled. Of course. Beerus then took a deep breath and sighed. Let's blow this popsicle stand, Whis. The blue-skinned attendant smiled. Of course. He then looked at Goku and Vegeta. Thank you for entertaining him. I think he grows bored of me. If you ever need help training, give me a shout and I'll hook you up. And with that, the two disappeared back to their home world. Goku and Vegeta lower back down to the earth, tired and beat up, but they are received by their loving family. With the Dragon Balls, Goku wishes that all of those who had died since the Baby Saga, save the villains, but including Android 17, would be brought back to life. Shenron agrees, but tells them that he plans to disappear for a time. He's not yet sure that humanity is ready for the responsibility of the Dragon Balls and says that they will need to learn how to solve their problems on their own. The heroes all agree that it's for the best, and so Shenron then leaves. After this, they all head home for a big snack, and begin to prepare to train for the next time Beerus appears. And that's the end of the story. Did you like it? I thought I'd shake it up with something a little different today. Dragon Ball is always a wonderful series to tackle, and besides Naruto, it's one of my favorite anime of all time, so this was super fun. But what did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos as they drop. You wouldn't want to miss any, would ya? And while we're talking about other videos, here's 2 more recommendations to keep you content until next time. Anyway, until next time, peace out.